Hello everyone, it's Sarah with Paint and Party. This is one of my favorite paintings I've done this fall. I know I say that a lot, but I really do love this one. It's got some really fun colors in it, easy to paint. I've got a stencil for it, so you guys should feel pretty confident that we can all do it. Okay, so we've got a stencil. You can use any colors you have. Really the only color that I would say, you definitely need white, and if you want an orange pumpkin, but you could do a white pumpkin, or, there's all different colored pumpkins anymore. So I am using like a dark brown, and this is Burnt Umber from Apple Barrel, but you could use whatever brand you like of your acrylics. I'm using some white for the background, and I've got just a teeny bit of this turquoise from Folk Art, and then we'll also use that for the flower. We've got yellow, pure orange, some bright pink. I've also got a little bit of red. This is lipstick red. That's going to help with making the pumpkin a little bit darker. I've got some green. I think that's it. Purple. Yeah, I did use some purple. Some violet pansy. But you can, like I said, you don't have to use all these. If you don't have all these colors, just use what you've got on hand. Like if you just had a couple of colors, I think you could do like 2 turquoise flowers or 2 pink ones, something like that, and add them in, or mixture colors. So there's a lot of different things you could do with this painting. We're going to start with the background here. And I've got my 3/4 inch brush. And then I'm going to use a medium-sized brush. This is a 1/2 inch. And then I've got a skinny brush that I'll use for some detailing. I've got my hair dryer out today, but certainly, you guys can always pause me and wait for things to dry, or I always go faster than you. I am using a piece of tracing paper today. It's just some carbon paper for my stencil. You could always cut this out too and make it work, and then just kind of fill in the lines. But these just print. If you download the PDF, they're already an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and you just print it as is. You shouldn't have to resize it or anything. If you have issues, please let me know. Okay, but we're not going to trace until we get our background finished. So I'm going to start with this big paintbrush. I've got brown and white on my plate here, and just a little bit of this turquoise. The reason why I waited to put the other colors on is just because I don't want to mix everything together, and sometimes they tend to dry out, so I'm just going to hold off on it. All right, so I put just a teensy bit of that dark brown in there, and I just want to show you guys how little it takes to darken that up. It's kind of like adding black. It really darkens easily and quickly. So I've got my light brown mixture, and we want to do the whole canvas. And we want to just kind of keep mixing our colors together. And you can have some spots that are darker and some spots that are lighter. And you want to have enough paint on there that you are able to make these long brush strokes. That's what gives you that sort of wood grain look. I feel like I got mine a little darker than I had planned, so I'm gonna just add some white. I just put straight white on my brush. And then if in the end I feel like this is still too dark, after it dries a little bit, I can put just put some straight white on it. And I'm gonna grab these edges down here while I'm going. That way I can blend in whatever comes over on top. Get this side edge here. So everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to stick with that long brush stroke. Because if you go in there and you're like just dabbing, and see how it leaves those brush strokes? So you just want to keep it going. That long brush stroke. Okay. Now we want to fill in the whole background here. And if you're having trouble covering your background, like if your paint, it feels kind of like it's going on like peanut butter, you can always add a little bit of water to your paint. So you just dip in your water, go to your plate, swish it around, and it kind of works like magic. It goes on a lot more smoothly. But you don't want it to be too watered down, because then you'll have a lot of brush stroke marks and it just doesn't cover very well, unless that's what you're going for, which we're not in this painting. We're gonna have a lot going on top of this background too. We've got the really big pumpkin, we're gonna do some wood grain, so there's a lot to go on top of this. And like I said earlier, I know that I paint faster than most of you guys, so that's the cool thing about having a video, is just pause me until you're ready to move on. I always tried to paint faster than you guys when I did in-person paint parties, so that I could run around and help you guys. So I'm accustomed to painting faster. All right. Let's get these sides here. And like I said, try to do it while your front paint is wet. That way, if you need to go back over and smooth it out, you can. Easy peasy. All right, now we're gonna want that to dry a little bit before we put our wood grain marks in, because if we do it right now, it'll just kind of blend in and they won't be very defined. So I'm gonna grab my hair dryer and just dry this a little bit. Like I said, you can wait. It's super humid here today. It's been raining for ever, so everything's taking a little bit longer to dry. But we'll just come back when it's dry, and we'll start to work on the wood grain. Okay, I am good and dry. And you should still have some brown paint on your plate, unless you just went super conservative. Then just add a little bit more clean brown, because we're gonna do just straight dark brown. Okay. And if you look at the example, we've got 3 lines. Now these 2, I didn't take them all the way down, just so that I didn't have to try to cover them with my pumpkin. So I'm just gonna go about halfway with those 2 lines, okay? But I've got my skinny mini brush. I'm gonna take a little bit of water. I'm gonna pull some brown paint off to the side and twist my brush a little. You don't want that water to be dripping, but it just helps you to, it helps to thin it out and makes it go on a lot easier. You could also use like a Sharpie if you wanted it to be a little bit more precise. But I kind of like my lines for wood grain a little bit choppy, because they're never perfect. Okay, so since your paint is dry, you can kind of rest your hand on your canvas, and like I said, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna just go, I like to go all the way down, and then I'll go back and kind of fill in. But like I said before, it's not a perfect line. It's not perfectly straight. Okay. Now this one, I only need to go about halfway. And I know some of you guys are probably thinking you like want to get out your ruler and make this a straight line and make sure they're even apart. And that's okay, you know.